I'm Peter Marsh, and welcome to another Aether and ATX video. In today's video, we are going to talk about limiting beliefs and how to change them. So this is my fourth video, and in each video, I pretty much always make sure to talk about this system that I think creates our reality. I'm going to review it right now because I think it's very important for what we're going to discuss today. So this is what happens. Think of yourself as two different parts. There is your physical self in your 3D tangible world, and then there is your inner self, which is your mind and your imagination. Now, your experiences in the 3D tangible world generate thoughts. Your thoughts are two things at the same time. They're the little data points that you're collecting as you have your experiences through your five senses. You're collecting this data, and then your brain takes that data that you've collected through your senses and it starts to see patterns. Those patterns are what make your beliefs. Now, your beliefs are, your collection of beliefs are the engine that generates your 3D tangible reality, your reality in general. Okay? So what the heck does that even mean? Like this, your beliefs making this 3D world the way it is? The way that I view it is that what you're experiencing with your five senses is reality, right? It's this 3D tangible world, but every single thing is neutral. Every single thing is neutral, and you give it purpose. I think like a metaphor that I can use, right? And let's make it like a modern metaphor. Imagine you got this 3D printer. The materials in the 3D printer, like the stuff that you're going to use to shape, to make whatever you want to make, that is the 3D tangible world, okay? And then your beliefs are the information that you're putting into the printer to make that thing, to shape that thing. There's Joshua South, who is one of the manifesting teachers that I watch a lot of his videos, and I agree with a lot of what he says. And there was one time where I was talking to him, and he was saying that like reality is kind of like a pixel TV, right? With your TV or your HD TV, there's all these different pixels, and a signal is sent to your TV, and it takes all those pixels and it makes it take shape, right? So I think that when you look at reality this way, that kind of explains how your beliefs can shape your reality, because there's all this stuff around us, but you are giving purpose and meaning to what you're interacting with in the 3D tangible world. So what happens when the life that you're living in the 3D tangible world is not one that you enjoy? What happens when you don't like your life? Well, it must mean that you have some kind of belief that is making the world this way. Most of the manifesting teachers that I watch YouTube videos of, or I read their stuff, they call these limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are things that we've had that have been passed down to us from the people that raised us. They're things that we have from our experiences. It's all interconnected. And it creates these beliefs that make us view the world in a very negative way. So last night, I decided I'm going to go and find where my limiting beliefs originated. I'm going to identify those limiting beliefs, and then I'm going to go back and see where they originated, and then see if I can undo that limiting belief. Now, one other thing I need to talk about is how everything is energy. I've mentioned this in other videos before, but pretty much everyone that talks about manifesting talks about how everything in the 3D tangible world is made up of energy. Our thoughts are energy. Our emotions are energy. So everything is energy. And when it comes to these limiting beliefs, you could take this negative thing and break it down and turn it into something positive and change your reality. So now I'm going to get real personal, okay? This might be a little uncomfortable. It's definitely uncomfortable for me. But I'm going to talk about one of my many limiting beliefs that I've had for 42 years of life. Okay, so some of my earliest memories when I was a kid were viewing the interactions between my father and my mother, my father and his family, my father and my mother's family, my father and my friends, my father in general. Now, my father, who I love very dearly, he has been diagnosed manic depression, bipolar, with schizophrenia. Okay, so he has always, since I've known him, well, since I've existed, he has always said things that might make people feel uncomfortable. They might seem strange. And, it just kind of gives this general unease. Now, I watched him interact with all these people that I knew, and they would say kind things about my father. They would say things like, "Your father is such a kind man. He's really smart. He is so devoted to your mom. He loves you very much." They would say all these things. Then there would always be a but. That sounds funny. But they would say, he loves you so much. He would do anything for you. He's so kind. He works so hard. But. And the but would be that he has this mental illness. And the mental illness is what makes things seem uncomfortable around him. So, my example of a man from my earliest childhood days, my example of a man was a man who was loving and giving and did everything for his family. He worked hard, but he had this flaw, this mental illness that made his life difficult, and then it also made the people around him feel uncomfortable. There's no fault to that. My father didn't choose to have mental illness. He unfortunately had it. He has it. He's still alive, too. And so I internalized that thought. And I thought to myself, what happens if I have all these great qualities, but I have some kind of serious flaw that makes people feel uncomfortable around me, that makes me seem strange? So that caused me to be hyper aware of every single thing that I said, every single thing that I did. And this is going back to before I even went to elementary school. I was so worried that the things I would say, the things I would do, would cause me to seem strange. And of course, like I've said in previous videos, life is kind of like a Chinese finger trap. The more you struggle against something, the harder it is to get out of it, right? And so I actually did make myself awkward and weird in elementary school because of the fear of being perceived as awkward and weird. And I just had no self-esteem whatsoever. And I was just always concerned about what people thought about me. And this applied to my romantic life as well. I dated a bunch of different women as I got older. And I would be this devoted boyfriend that loved them so much. And I would say such nice things to them and write stuff for them. And I would get them things. And I would try to do all these romantic gestures. But the moment that they might talk about a specific flaw of mine, or it might seem like they're pulling back, that limiting belief would come in, and I would get really resentful, and I'd be mean to them, because I'm like, oh, I do all these nice things for you, but then you are focused on this flaw. It was that fear of being like my father. And it affected my romantic life, it affected my social life, and, it affected me up until pretty much maybe last night. So, how did I get rid of this limiting belief? I can't say for 100% that it's completely gone. But what I can say is that I identified it, and I think I came up with the solution for getting rid of it. I looked at my life, and I thought about all the things that I have accomplished, and I realized I accomplished all of those things with that limiting belief. And I have other limiting beliefs too, but this is the one we're focusing on today. Everything that I'm proud of in my life, I was able to do with that limiting belief holding me down. To use another metaphor, if I was stepping into the ring of life, about to fight, I'm going to take on reality, I'm going to take on life, I'm going to take on the world. My limiting belief tied both of my arms behind my back. And for most of my life, I took a lot of damage. I had years and years and years of mental anguish because of those limiting beliefs. But I still accomplished a lot of things that I'm very proud of. So here's the point in the video where I would start listing all the things that I'm proud of. but I'm not going to do that. Two reasons why. First reason is because I can picture the cynical people that I know, that I grew up with, that I interacted with even till recently. And I can picture them saying, yeah, but, to my accomplishments, right? When I think of that, yeah, but, when I'm thinking about poking holes in my accomplishments, I see those people's faces. I hear their voices, right? They reinforced those negative beliefs. You know, dang on, I lost my train of thought for a second. But when it comes to listing the things that I am proud of, I'm also not going to do that because this video is already super self-indulgent. And I get kind of mad at people that like to brag and like talk about their accomplishments, so I'm not going to do that. Am I like totally financially stable and living my best life? No. But I am a lot closer to it right now than I was before I started manifesting. Am I in like, do I have the best social life, you know, without flaws? And, you know, am I in the best shape of my life? No, but I'm a lot closer to it than I was before I started researching manifestation. So the key thing to this is realizing that everything that I've accomplished, everything that I'm proud of, I did with these limiting beliefs. I had them, they were holding me down, but I still accomplished this. So then the question becomes, without these limiting beliefs, what can I accomplish? So last part of this video, going back to the idea that energy, or everything is made of energy. Every single thing is made of energy. The 3D tangible world, our thoughts, right? In the end, what I think made a significant change in my life, which led me to finding this limiting belief and getting rid of it, was that I made a choice. And every single day, I continue to make choices. And that's the beauty of it. You feel like when you have these limiting beliefs that you don't have choices. That's just the way life is. This is just the way that you are, and you have to deal with it. But then one day I was like, I'm not going to deal with that anymore. I'm not going to choose that life anymore. And so it's energy, and I'm deciding where to put my energy. I was putting it in this one world, this one reality, because of my limiting beliefs, but now I'm choosing to put it into another one, a world that I want to be in. I'm putting energy into becoming the person I want to be, and that's going to change the world that I live in. So hopefully this video is helpful. Hopefully it's not just like completely self-indulgent. I'm just saying this stuff because it's made me feel a lot better as a person. I've already seen changes in my 3D tangible world. If this can help you in any way, that's awesome. That's all I want to do. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you real soon.